The incessant war in Ukraine continues to increase Russia's military losses. Based on calculations, Russia lost a number of high-value military equipment. In fact, 5 of them are worth over $1 billion. The calculations show Russia's most painful and valuable military defeat. The first was the $750 million battleship Moscow, the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, which sank in April. Ukraine says it has rammed and sank the ship, although Russia says it was a fire on board. Ukraine has proven that the predictions of a quick Russian victory have been missed. Ukraine utilized Western-supplied weapons, including the U.S. HIMars high-mobility artillery rocket system, to launch successful counterattacks against Russian targets. On the other hand, Moscow allegedly carried out forced conscription to fill vacant roles in its ranks while offering cash incentives to current troops to motivate them to go to war. Earlier, retired U.S. General Barry McCaffrey said that Russian President Vladimir Putin was running out of ideas and would see things get worse for himself quickly. Today, Ukraine launched a lightning-fast counteroffensive, recapturing swathes of territory in its northeastern Kharkiv region. The move prompted Russian troops to flee as fast as they could, leaving behind so much weaponry and ammunition that Ukraine has struggled to handle it all. Among the items left were functioning T-72 tanks, which are now being used by Ukrainian troops to solidify their offensive. The initial panic of the counteroffensive led Russian troops to abandon higher-quality equipment in working order, rather than the more damaged equipment left behind by Russian forces retreating from Kiev in April, further indicating the severity of the Russian rout. The Institute said. The Institute for the Study of War said that Russian forces are attempting to mobilize additional forces, but have proven unable to generate significant combat power. The Ukrainian military said Sunday that its forces had continued their offensive in the Kharkiv region and advanced to the eastern bank of the Oskil River. Al Jazeera reported Ukraine is now deploying captured Russian tanks to solidify its gains in the northeast amid an ongoing counteroffensive, a Washington-based think tank said Tuesday, as Kiev vowed to push further into territories occupied by Moscow. Russian claim said that Ukraine had been using left-behind Russian T-72 tanks as it tries to push into the Russian-occupied region of Luhansk. However, the Russian leader has described the biggest European invasion since the end of World War II as a special military operation rather than a full-scale war that has displaced millions of Ukrainians inside and outside their country. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Wednesday night that the country's armed forces are preparing a countermeasure to Russia's offensive operations. We are analyzing the intentions of the occupiers and are preparing a countermeasure, an even more powerful countermeasure than it's been, he said in his nightly address. Zelensky did not elaborate on what the countermeasures would look like. Since September, Ukraine has retaken some parts of the country seized by Russian forces earlier this year, particularly around the regions of Kharkiv in the northeast and Kherson in the south. Intense fighting around Bakhmut in the Donetsk region in eastern Ukraine is inflicting high losses on Russian forces, with a Ukrainian official telling CNBC Wednesday that there are mountains of corpses of Russian invaders in the area, both regular Russian troops, the newly mobilized, as well as mercenaries of the Wagner Group. They're all fighting around Bakhmut. And the losses of the enemy in all of these categories are colossal, and they're measured in their 1,000s of soldiers killed in action, SAC said. Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared to acknowledge Russia's heavy losses in Ukraine after the recent counterattack by forces of his neighbor and insisted on stabilizing the situation in 4 Ukrainian territories he illegally claimed as his own last week. Russia has suffered significant losses in 2 of the 4 areas since Friday, September 30, 2022, when Putin set up a deal to bring them into Russia by force, with Russian officials saying their troops were regrouping. In the city of Lyman, which was recaptured by Ukrainian troops on Sunday, February 10, 2022, more than 50 graves have been found. Ukraine's Southern Command said it had extended its area of control by 6 to 12 miles in the Kherson region. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed the recapture of the village chain. The areas recaptured were south of the town of Kryvyi Rih towards Nova Kakhovka and west along the north bank of the Dnipro towards Kherson.